7 signs a woman is secretly desiring you. Psychology tricks. She'll rarely spell it out for you, man. But her body, her tone, her little accidents around you, those speak long before her lips ever do. Attraction usually whispers before it ever dares to speak out loud. You've felt it before. You're in a room with a woman and something in the air shifts. She keeps drifting back into your space. Her eyes find you more than once. Her voice softens when it's you she's talking to. She remembers something small you mentioned in passing that you've already forgotten. And yet, you talk yourself out of it. She's just being nice. That's just her personality. Most men miss real signals because they're too busy trying to impress instead of quietly paying attention. I'm not here to comfort you, I'm here to sharpen you. Here's the reality. Attraction isn't always a big, dramatic moment. Most of the time, it's subtle tension. It's the way she lingers in your presence. The half-second longer eye contact. The way her energy changes when you move closer. These are not invitations to chase or act needy. They're cues to stay grounded, to observe, and to lead with calm confidence. In this video, you're going to get 7 specific signs that a woman is secretly desiring you, backed by simple psychology and how to respond like a stoic man. No games, no begging for attention, no over-the-top flirting. Just relaxed presence. You'll learn how to notice things like mirroring your body language, closing the physical distance, subtle shifts in her tone. And that anxious little spark that looks like uncertainty, but is often desire checking whether you can handle the moment without losing your cool. Watch until the end, and you'll know exactly when to move, what to say, and just as importantly, when to do nothing at all and let her attraction grow on its own. Let's dive in. 1. The silent signals you're missing. When it comes to the 7 signs a woman is secretly desiring you psychology tricks, most men never notice the very first one, the quiet, invisible conversation happening before a single word is spoken, a conversation made of micromovements. Shifting energy, mirrored gestures, and tiny moments that evaporate if you blink too hard. And if you think this sounds poetic instead of practical, be careful, don't dismiss it, because this silent language is where real attraction begins, where curiosity warms into interest, and where a woman's body speaks the truth long before her mouth catches up. That is exactly what Daniel, a 53-year-old small business owner from Dallas, discovered after years of mistaking silence for disinterest. He told me, "Man, I used to think if she didn't say it, it wasn't real, and like so many men." He filled every gap with jokes, chatter, anything to keep the moment alive, not realizing he was drowning out the very signals he desperately wanted to understand. But everything shifted one evening at a dinner with mutual friends when he sat across from Heather, 48, and for the first time, instead of driving the conversation, he simply watched. He noticed how she sipped her drink the exact second he did, leaned back when he leaned back, smiled in sync with his smile, even laughed with a matching rhythm, almost like they were following choreography neither of them had rehearsed. Don't ignore that. You must understand that mirroring is not an accident. It's chemistry revealing itself in plain sight. The nervous system aligns with what it desires. This isn't manipulation. It isn't performance. It isn't some mystical trick from a dusty dating manual. It's biology, the oldest communication system on Earth. And when a woman's energy starts to harmonize with yours, it means attraction has already entered the room. Whether she touches her hair the instant you walk in, or subtly angles her feet toward you while speaking to someone else, or unconsciously matches her breathing to your slower pace, she is showing you interest through her body long before she risks showing it with words. But don't be the man who misses all this, because he's too busy trying to impress instead of interpret. Seneca said the greatest remedy for anger is delay, and that is the same principle here. The greatest remedy for confusion in attraction is patience, slow down, observe. Let the truth reveal itself instead of forcing a moment that's already unfolding beautifully. Women rarely announce, "I like you," because doing so shifts the emotional balance too abruptly. Be aware, they test for safety first, not because they're playing games, but because they need to see if your calm is genuine or just another mask waiting to slip under pressure. That is why silence becomes powerful when you stop fearing it. When Daniel stopped performing and started noticing, the quiet between them didn't feel empty anymore. It felt charged, alive, magnetic, and Heather stepped into that space not because he chased her attention, but because he finally gave her room to move toward him. Be the man who lets attraction breathe. Don't rush. Don't overanalyze. Observe her rhythm. Notice whether she leans in when you pause, whether her posture echoes yours, whether her presence subtly softens when you settle. You don't need to name these moments or chase them, just honor them. Let your grounded confidence do the talking. Remember, attraction is a silent dance, and the music keeps playing whether you acknowledge it or not. The real question is whether you're listening or whether you're too focused on leading to notice she's already following. If any part of this resonates, if you've ever seen these signals but didn't know how to interpret them, say it boldly, I see clearly. And stay with me, because understanding this 7 signs a woman is secretly desiring you psychology tricks doesn't stop with the body. The next sign lives in her eyes, especially in the moments she thinks you're not looking, and that, my friend, reveals more than any sentence she will ever say. 2. Her eyes hold longer than they should. Let's be real, my friend. When a woman desires you, her eyes will reveal the truth long before her voice ever gathers the courage to say a word. You'll notice it in the way she looks at you, not merely at you, but into you, as if she's studying something she finds unexpectedly compelling. It's never the quick, polite glance people toss out of courtesy. It's longer, softer, heavier. That is what makes it powerful. Her gaze lingers for just a second too long, then slips away suddenly, almost like she's afraid you caught her in the act. And most men miss this entirely, not because the sign is subtle, but because they're distracted by trying to say the right thing instead of paying attention to the silent tension standing right in front of them. Eye contact is ancient. It's primal. It's one of the oldest signals humans have ever used to communicate interest. Pupils dilate, heart rate adjusts, dopamine rises. The body speaks in a language evolution wrote long before words existed. And when she's attracted, that look doesn't just hit your eyes, it hits your emotions. It sinks in. It settles. It stirs something deeper. It's her body saying, I'm drawn to you, even if her mind is quietly trying to maintain composure. This is where your role as a high-value man truly comes into play. You must see what others overlook. You must let your masculine energy guide you, not your impulses. Here's where Stoicism becomes your advantage. The untrained man gets swept away by that look. He interprets it as permission or worse, as pressure to act immediately. Don't make that mistake. The Stoic man does something radically different. He holds the gaze with calm. He doesn't rush. He doesn't fidget. He doesn't scramble to fill silence with words that add nothing to the moment. He simply stays present, grounded, steady. That is what allows the moment to work in his favor. A high-value man understands that silence isn't empty. It's loaded with meaning. It's magnetic when paired with real confidence. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When her eyes meet yours, your thoughts determine the signal she receives. If your thoughts whisper neediness, she feels it instantly. If your thoughts are steady, I see you, but I'm not chasing you, she feels that too. Calm energy is magnetic energy. It's one of the most underrated ways to naturally attract women because it communicates the one thing women crave without saying it: emotional steadiness. Eye contact is not about staring her down. Don't do that. It's about connection, a subtle dance between attention and restraint. Hold it too long, and it becomes overwhelming. Break it too soon, and it becomes uncertainty. But when you're centered, confident, and relaxed, your gaze communicates something else entirely: grounded masculine energy. Not forceful, not aggressive, just quietly firm. Women notice that. They feel it. They respond to it more than they admit. Sometimes she'll look away quickly, pretending she wasn't observing you at all. Sometimes she'll hold the gaze just a little too long, as if testing whether you'll flinch or fold. Don't react impulsively. Don't break your own frame. Be neutral. Be composed. Be aware. Stay unshaken. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Attraction operates under the exact same rule. Her gaze isn't an invitation, it's a mirror. It reflects exactly who you are in that moment, anxious or grounded, scattered or present, unsure or steady. If your energy is calm, she feels safe in a silence. If your energy is centered, she feels drawn in. This is one of the deepest ways a high value man can naturally attract women without trying too hard, by allowing his masculine energy to be still yet strong, available yet not seeking. If you've ever felt that quiet tension in her eyes and wondered whether it meant something, it did. It always does. Eye contact is never accidental when attraction is present. So if this resonates, if you've seen this look before but never understood its meaning, comment below. I stay composed. Up next, you'll learn how her body begins echoing your movements before she even realizes it, a sign even more revealing than her gaze. If you feel the truth in this, drop a comment right now. I see her signs, and I stay unshaken. Like this video, subscribe for more fierce clarity, and remember, her gaze doesn't choose you. Your presence does. 3. When she mirrors you without knowing. When a woman mirrors you without realizing it, you're witnessing one of the most revealing psychological signals of attraction, a quiet yet unmistakable alignment that happens long before words confirm anything, and in modern life, where distractions are endless and attention is fractured, this unconscious syncing matters more than ever because it shows she is tuned into you, not the noise around her. You lean back and moments later she follows. You shift your hands and she adjusts hers. You slow your breath and she naturally softens. It feels accidental, but it is ancient human wiring at work, a response rooted in trust, comfort, and instinct. And any man with an iron mind who embraces Old Stoic wisdom recognizes that such alignment is never random, never superficial, never without meaning. Psychologists call it mirroring, but men who move through life with Stoicism understand it as something deeper, a silent signal that she feels safe in your presence, that your energy has created a grounded field she unconsciously joins. I once spoke with Tom, 50 years old from Chicago, a man who thought his dinner date was going nowhere because the conversation was simple and ordinary, no sparks, no obvious flirtation, just polite talk about travel and work. But halfway through, he noticed something subtle. Every time he shifted, she followed. Every time he adjusted his posture, slowed his pace, or breathed more calmly, she naturally matched him. He wasn't performing. He wasn't trying to impress. He wasn't strategizing. His stability set the tone, and she harmonized with it without even knowing why. That is not a trick. That is not performance. That is biology responding to presence. Mirroring is the nervous system's quiet way of saying, I trust you, I feel steady with you, and the Stoics understood this dynamic long before psychology named it. Epictetus famously said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak, and that truth is the foundation of mirroring. She aligns with you because your presence listens, not because you push or posture. Old Stoic wisdom teaches that the strongest force in any room is calm awareness, not loud effort, and when you embody that, when you carry an iron mind that doesn't seek validation or rush for outcomes, her body instinctively mirrors the stability you project. But understand this clearly, you cannot fake this. You cannot force mirroring by stiffly copying her or exaggerating your posture, because that isn't attraction, it's manipulation, and women sense inauthenticity faster than most men realize. Mirroring only appears when you are genuinely grounded, when your inner state quietly communicates, I am comfortable, I am centered, I am enough, and that is the energy that allows her guard to drop, her breath to settle, her rhythm to merge with yours. Tom didn't make the moment a game. He simply stayed present, noticing without reacting, allowing silence to breathe, allowing connection to build by itself. By the end of the evening, she was the one leaning in, asking questions, sharing stories she normally kept private, feeling safe enough to be unfiltered because his steadiness created a space where she could relax into herself. That is what mirroring truly reveals, not just attraction, but emotional safety. Imagine 2 instruments tuning themselves. They blend because the frequencies match, not because one forces the other. Your composure is that frequency. Your steadiness is that anchor. Marcus Aurelius said, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good," reminding us again that the external world reflects the internal state, and mirroring is exactly that, an outer echo of your inner calm, a visible sign that your foundation is steady enough for someone else to lean toward it. A man guided by Stoicism knows the difference between reacting and leading. The reactive man notices mirroring and tries to amplify it, tries to push, tries to control the moment. But the grounded man, the man with an iron mind, simply observes and continues at his pace because he knows attraction grows in stillness, not pursuit. So when you notice her movements aligning with yours, don't rush, don't announce it, don't overanalyze. Simply offer a slight nod or a quiet smile and remain steady, because that's where the connection deepens, not through force, but through presence earned over time. And in the modern world, where hurried energy is the norm, your calm becomes a rare signal she instinctively gravitates toward. If you've ever witnessed that subtle alignment and now understand the power behind it, carry that awareness into every interaction as proof that grounded presence wins, that old Stoic wisdom still guides modern attraction, and that a man who leads calmly wins silently. Stay alert, because the next sign is just as revealing when she begins finding excuses to be near you, and trust me, proximity is never an accident. 4. The accidental proximity game. You've probably noticed it, my friend, that quiet, almost invisible little dance where she keeps appearing near you, not close enough to spark suspicion, but just near enough that you feel her presence brushing against your awareness like a soft breeze you can't ignore. Same cafe again, same stretch of the gym floor, same spot in the grocery line, as if the universe itself keeps nudging her into your orbit. Don't assume it's random. Don't brush it off as coincidence. That is the accidental proximity game, one of the most subtle psychology tricks tucked deep inside female psychology, and if you're not paying attention, you miss the entire point. She's not chasing you, she's orbiting you, dipping into your space just long enough to feel what it's like to be near you without risking her pride. When attraction begins forming, women rarely act head-on. Instead, they lean into closeness, physical, emotional, spatial, to test how it feels to be near your gravity. She isn't asking for your attention, she's observing your presence. She wants to sense your energy before she ever risks her words. And this is exactly where many men sabotage themselves. They notice her drifting nearby and immediately jump into action, forcing conversation, pushing moments, rushing connection, forgetting that attraction built through subtle cues doesn't need your speed, only your steadiness. Be patient. Be aware. Be anchored. The Stoic man understands that presence is more powerful than pursuit. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over." It remains unmoved, and that is precisely the energy she responds to. When she moves near you, don't scramble. Don't rush. Don't perform. Be the rock, steady, grounded, unshaken, because in the world of subtle attraction, that calm posture is the signal her instincts are waiting for. Think of it like gravity. The sun doesn't chase planets, it simply holds its center, and everything naturally moves around it. When you center yourself, you create the same magnetic effect. She starts finding reasons, tiny, almost laughably simple reasons, to linger in your orbit. She circles closer with casual questions, stands near you a second time, reaches for something beside you, and though each moment looks small, each one is a quiet data point. She's asking herself, are you steady? Are you safe? Can she relax? These aren't conscious tests. They're instinctive ones shaped by female psychology and the deep, ancient patterns of how to fall in love without announcing it out loud. And here's the part most men miss entirely. Your silence, your composure, your lack of urgency reveal more than dramatic gestures ever could. You don't need to act interested. You don't need to prove your value. You don't even need to acknowledge every signal. Keep your rhythm. Own your breath. Let your energy speak. If she steps closer, allow it. If she steps back, don't chase. The moment you lean toward her too quickly, she stops feeling pulled toward you. Attraction collapses when you abandon your center. Stoics call this the discipline of detachment, and Epictetus said true wealth is having few wants. Apply that here. Don't want her approval. Don't crave her validation. Don't cling to her reaction. The man who needs nothing becomes the man she cannot ignore because, to her, he feels like emotional safety wrapped in quiet confidence. Now, let's admit something real. Holding that composure isn't easy. You'll feel the impulse to act, to engage, to make something happen, especially when curiosity flickers in her eyes. But don't rush. Be patient. Be deliberate. Your restraint doesn't push her away. It draws her deeper into the mystery of you. The quieter you are, the more she wonders. The steadier you stand, the more she feels the grounded authority that defines true masculine presence. This is not coldness, it's clarity. It's one of the most powerful psychology tricks in the entire game of subtle connection, and one of the most underrated steps in how to fall in love without force or pressure. So when you notice her nearby again, pause. Don't speak first. Don't break the moment. Just breathe and own the space you're standing in. When you master that stillness, she keeps returning, not because coincidence pulls her back, but because desire does. She returns because being near you feels different, safer, calmer, more intriguing. And once a woman feels that, her curiosity becomes momentum. If you've seen this dynamic unfold, this gentle orbit, this quiet dance, this beautiful pattern hidden in female psychology, and now finally understand it, say it proudly below. I move with calm. If this opened your eyes, hit like, drop a comment, and share it with someone who needs this reminder. Don't forget to subscribe for deeper insights. Comment to remember, power grows in the space between her steps and my stillness. 5. The shift in her voice. Let's talk about something almost every man overlooks, her voice. Not her words. Not her jokes. Not her topics of conversation. Her tone. Because when a woman starts feeling drawn to you, her voice reveals the truth long before her mind dares to admit it. It happens quietly, almost accidentally, yet it's one of the clearest signs that your masculine energy is affecting her. Her tone slows. It softens. It drops just slightly. The words are familiar, but the feeling behind them is brand new. If you're paying attention, you don't just hear the sound, you hear the meaning she's trying not to reveal. And this is exactly where a high-value man separates himself from the average one. Take Mark from Seattle. Great guy, thoughtful, honest, hardworking, yet for most of his life, he completely missed the signals women gave him. One day he told me about his coworker, Lisa. They'd always kept things strictly professional. Polite, quick, efficient. Here's the file, thanks, have a good day kind of dynamic. But then one ordinary Tuesday afternoon, something in her voice changed. The sharpness disappeared. The tempo slowed. And suddenly, she was asking questions that had nothing to do with work. How was your weekend? You look more relaxed today. These weren't just words. These were openings, invitations. Her voice carried warmth, curiosity, even a hint of hesitation, like she was testing how it felt to step into softer territory. She wasn't flirting with her sentences. Her tone was doing all the flirting for her. That, my friend, is the sound of emotional safety. That is what happens when your masculine energy signals that you're someone she can relax around. When attraction grows, the female nervous system responds automatically. Her parasympathetic state, the one tied to trust, openness, calm, activates. Her voice slows because her guard lowers. Her tone softens because she feels protected. Her words deepen because her body is quietly saying, I feel safe enough to be feminine around you. That is the moment when a high-value man understands he's already creating an emotional impact. And here is the difference between men who attract women effortlessly and men who accidentally sabotage the moment. The average man hears that softness and tries to capitalize on it. He pushes. He speeds up. He flirts harder. He gets excited and tries to seal the deal. But don't do that. Don't rush. Don't force the moment. When she relaxes into softness, you must relax into stillness. The Stoic man does the opposite of what desperation suggests. He listens. He holds the space. He lets the moment breathe. He recognizes her softened tone as a compliment to his composure, not a green light to accelerate. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly." Attraction is no exception. Her shift in tone isn't a signal to hurry, it's confirmation that your energy is already working. She is lowering her guard because something in you feels steady and grounded. Something in you feels like a man who won't misuse her vulnerability. And that is rare. That is why it's attractive. Mark eventually understood this after years of misreading signals. Instead of talking faster or trying to impress her, he slowed down. He matched her softness with presence. He held her gaze just a second longer. He answered her questions with intention, not excitement. He allowed silence to exist. And that small shift changed everything. The atmosphere deepened. The connection warmed. She leaned into the moment rather than away from it. Attraction isn't built through volume. It's built through presence. When her voice changes, she is subconsciously aligning herself with your emotional tone. That's polarity at work. That's the dance between feminine openness and masculine energy. If your voice stays calm, steady, and unhurried, she feels grounded. If you become nervous or overly reactive, the polarity dissolves. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That applies here. Don't overthink what to say. Be the man she already feels drawn toward. A high-value man doesn't rush his words. He doesn't scramble. He speaks with intention. His voice carries weight because it carries certainty. And that certainty is what helps attract women without effort or pressure. So when you hear her voice soften, don't interrupt it. Don't joke it away. Don't rush to fill the silence. Let it linger. Let her feel the steadiness of your presence. Hold eye contact. Breathe slowly. That quiet space, the one most men bulldoze through, is exactly where attraction grows. The more still you remain, the safer she feels. The safer she feels, the stronger the chemistry becomes. And when you understand that, when you finally hear the truth hidden beneath her tone, say it below, "I hear the truth." 6. The small things she remembers. When a woman starts remembering the small things about you, the details most men shrug off as meaningless, understand that you're witnessing one of the clearest psychological signs of desire, because no mind holds on to what doesn't matter, and no heart invests in what doesn't stir emotion. When she brings up the coffee brand you casually mentioned, recalls the name of your dog, repeats a joke from weeks earlier, or references a story you told once in passing, she isn't just displaying good memory. She's revealing emotional investment, subconscious attachment, and the unmistakable imprint you've left on her inner world. And this is where Old Stoic wisdom becomes your ally, reminding you that the smallest cues often reveal the largest truths. As Epictetus said, we suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment of them, and in modern life, that means most men overlook what truly matters because they're distracted by big gestures and obvious signs, while the real signals, quiet, subtle, consistent, are right in front of them, whispering a truth louder than any confession. A woman remembers the details because her emotions anchor to them, because your presence triggered something meaningful in her mind, because the feeling she experienced with you created a moment her subconscious refuses to release. That's how attraction forms, slowly, silently, layer by layer, through tiny pieces of information she would never store if she didn't care, and a man with an iron mind recognizes this without becoming reactive, without leaning in too fast, without surrendering his center. He becomes stronger, steadier, more composed, embodying Stoicism when in real time. Marcus Aurelius warned us, pay attention to what lies beneath the surface, and in the modern dating world, where people rush, assume, and overlook, this principle becomes even more powerful because what lies beneath the surface is everything. When she remembers your morning routine, your favorite city, your preferred drink, or the way you described your weekend, she's not trying to impress you. She's reconnecting with the emotion she felt in that moment, reliving the calm, strength, or confidence you projected. In a world full of noise, rare energy stands out, and Old Stoic wisdom teaches that a grounded man becomes unforgettable not by effort, but by presence. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free," and in this context, bravery isn't performance or pursuit, it's emotional restraint, the courage to stay centered, the discipline to let her interest rise without grabbing for control. Most men break the spell by reacting too strongly, reading too much into her attention, or becoming overly eager at the first sign of interest. But a man guided by an iron mind knows that her remembering is a sign, not a command. He responds with calm appreciation, not excitement. He lets her reveal herself at her own pace. He allows the connection to breathe because he understands that pressure destroys what patience builds. And here's the deeper truth. She remembers not the words you spoke, but the way she felt when you spoke them, your steadiness, your confidence, your ability to be comfortable in silence, your refusal to chase approval. Emotional safety is rare, especially in modern life where everyone is distracted, overstimulated, and racing from thought to thought. So when she finds it in you, her mind returns to that feeling again and again, like a familiar song that won't stop replaying. This is Stoicism when in its purest form: influence without force, attraction without effort, connection without chaos. So when she brings up something small you thought she'd forgotten, don't brush it off, don't joke it away, and don't act surprised. Simply acknowledge it with a calm smile. Let her see that you notice, but are not moved off center. Because your steadiness speaks louder than any performance. You're not impressed by her attention, but you appreciate it. You're not dependent on her interest, but you respect it. You're not rushing into her world, but you allow her to step into yours. This balanced energy is power, and power attracts. Old Stoic wisdom reminds us again: control yourself, not the outcome. Let her desire grow at its natural pace, because by holding your frame, you become the rare man she can't forget. In the end, the small things she remembers are not small at all. They are the trail of clues revealing the impact you've made, the emotional mark you've left, and the quiet desire forming beneath the surface. This is how a modern man with an iron mind wins, with patience, presence, and mastery. And if you've noticed a woman recalling details you never expected her to remember, and now see the truth behind it, tell yourself this with conviction: I see the signs. If you finally understand that the small things she remembers are not accidents, but signs of desire, and you choose to stay calm, grounded, and in control, then stamp that identity into your mind right now. Comment this below to lock it in. I am the man she remembers, and I remain unshaken. 7. Nervous energy that feels like desire. This is where most men misunderstand female psychology without even realizing it. Don't ignore the signs. Be the man who actually sees what's happening beneath the surface. You're talking to her. She's shifting in her seat, touching her hair, tapping her glass, glancing away too quickly, and you instantly assume she's uncomfortable or waiting for an escape route. But be careful, that assumption can sabotage what's actually unfolding right in front of you. Sometimes that nervous energy isn't rejection at all. That is desire wearing the mask of anxiety, the body reacting long before the mind catches up. Women often feel attraction before they can articulate it, and their physiology speaks louder than their words. If you want to master psychology tricks and genuinely understand how to fall in love from the inside out, start here. Desire doesn't always look smooth or effortless. Sometimes it trembles. Let me give you a real story. A man named David once told me about a woman named Rebecca, sweet, bright, magnetic, and apparently terrified every time he walked into a room. She laughed too loudly, dropped her keys, forgot what she was saying mid-sentence, and seemed to short-circuit any time he made eye contact. David interpreted it as a lack of interest, maybe even discomfort. He assumed she was counting the minutes until she could politely walk away. But one quiet evening, after a simple conversation, she surprised him with the truth. "I don't know why," she said, "but you make me nervous." Not fearful, nervous. That is desire wrapped in tension. She wasn't trying to run from him. She was trying to manage the rush of emotion he created. Her body wasn't malfunctioning. It was responding to chemistry she wasn't ready to confess out loud. You must understand this if you ever want to read female psychology accurately. When attraction builds inside a woman, her nervous system kicks into overdrive. It's not just emotion, it's biology, a cocktail of adrenaline and oxytocin firing at the same time. That's why she may fumble with her words, but still lean toward you, why she looks away but keeps coming back for more. Her mind is saying, slow down, stay composed, while her body blurts out, this man affects me. And a grounded man never misreads this signal. Don't let your insecurity translate her excitement into discomfort. A Stoic man recognizes the difference between unease and intensity. Be the anchor, not the one who adds more waves to her already swirling energy. The truth is simple. When you stay calm, her nervous energy starts to settle. Your steadiness gives her body permission to relax. That is the real magnetism, not loud confidence, not over-the-top charm, but calm presence under pressure. Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Apply that directly to attraction. Her nervousness isn't the problem. Your interpretation is. The moment David understood this, everything changed. Instead of rambling to fill the silence or cracking jokes to ease her tension, he leaned back slightly, softened his voice, and let calm air surround them. Within minutes, Rebecca stopped fidgeting. Her breathing lowered. The atmosphere shifted from jittery to electric. Calm energy doesn't fight chaos, it absorbs it. This is why emotional composure matters more than any pickup line, witty remark, or forced charm. When you respond to her nervousness with your own, the polarity collapses. When you respond with steadiness, the polarity expands. Be the center. Be the one who turns tension into connection. The moment she feels your grounded presence, her body says, I can settle into this. And that's when attraction deepens into something real. Of course, not all nervous energy equals desire. You must pay attention to context. But here's how you differentiate. If she comes closer despite being flustered, if she lingers even when the conversation could have ended, if she finds excuses, tiny, silly, unnecessary excuses, to keep talking to you, that's not fear. That is desire whispering through her behavior. Her body reveals what her ego is too cautious to confess. Seneca once said, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Attraction works the same way. The friction between your composure and her excitement sharpens the chemistry. That tiny spark between your calm and her fluster is exactly where connection grows, the tension that makes two people lean in without knowing why. So the next time you see her laugh nervously, catch her breath mid-sentence, or fidget in the cutest, most unexpected ways, don't rush to fix it. Don't drown the moment with chatter. Let the moment breathe. Let the tension live. Stay steady. Stay grounded. That is one of the most powerful psychology tricks you'll ever use in understanding how to fall in love. And if you've ever witnessed that flash of nervous excitement in a woman's eyes and now finally understand what it means, type it below. I hold steady. Then get ready, because next, we're going to explore how a woman's wandering focus can be the clearest sign that she can't stop thinking about you, even when she pretends she's not paying attention. So now you understand what true masculine calm really does. It doesn't just attract women, it transforms the way you move through life. Every sign we talked about, her eyes, her tone, her energy, her silence, they all point to one thing, the power of presence. When you master that, you stop chasing attention and start commanding it. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. If you're ready to take this deeper, to build emotional control, stoic discipline, and unshakable confidence, become a channel member today. Inside, you'll get private lessons, advanced breakdowns, and exclusive mindset training I never share publicly. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because every day we're building stronger, calmer, sharper men. Thank you for watching, my friend. Before you go, here's my sincere advice. Don't just look for signs from women. Focus on becoming the kind of man who naturally creates them. Presence, discipline, and emotional steadiness will carry you much further than any tactic or trick. Build that foundation, and everything else starts aligning on its own. Stay disciplined, and I'll see you in the next one.